When does love stop being love and turn into a leash? And if you tied the knot, how do you untie it without drawing blood? Stay with me, because this story gives you a simple map for getting out of pretty cages. The night begins in a hotel corridor that smells like lemon and new carpet. A fire alarm cries at 3:03 in the morning. A tray of berries leaks red onto a white sheet like a guilty secret. A pop star sits on the floor and counts her breaths like coins she is not sure she owns. Her name is Lena, and the world sings her songs, but tonight the song sings her. A fixer jogs down the hall with a calm face and a heavy briefcase. His name is Ethan, and he knows how to make bad stories vanish. He has done it for politicians, for brands, and for people whose smiles were made to sell perfume. He has done it for Lena and for the woman who manages her life like a chessboard. That woman is Maris, and she is Lena's mother who loves hard and manages harder. You may think this is about fame, but it is about control dressed as care. It is about a soft prison that calls itself home. It is about a man who built a fortress and then decided to take it apart brick by brick. We drop in the moment the fortress starts to crack.
No doors, no locks, please.
That one line from the floor hits Ethan like cold water. He knows the hotel has 4 cameras on this level and 2 more at the lift. He knows a tabloid buys footage at sunrise. His briefcase opens, and out come forms that silence phones and mouths. He calls the night manager and names a charity and a donation. He pays for privacy by the hour, the way other people pay for room service. He offers a blanket and the kind of voice that adults use for spooked children.
You are safe, and this is quiet, and we talk slow.
He lies about quiet, but the lie calms the air. The alarm dies, and the hallway holds its breath. Here is the first secret you should keep in your pocket. Control can sound like love if you add the right words and a warm light. And guilt can pass for duty if you invoice it. Ethan does not think of guilt as a feeling, he thinks of it as a ledger. The ledger lists favors, fees, and the reason his mother had a room at a hospice where soft hands tied soft gowns. Maris calls, because Maris always calls.
Is she with you? And are the cameras off? And why did she press the alarm?
Ethan says everything is handled.
She is with me, and the cameras are sleeping, and we will keep it small.
Maris thanks him with a silence that sounds like a warning. The night returns to normal, which is not normal at all. That is the opening cut, and the wound will not close. Let me tell you what the world around Lena looks like in daylight. There is a mansion with hedges that look like they can file your nails. There is a gate that opens to approved faces and to approved moods. There are rooms with soundproof walls and lights that never glare. There is a schedule that calls itself wellness and a rule book that calls itself love. There are curfews with pet names, there are escorts called accountability buddies, and there are geofences named safety. The fortress is soft to the touch, which makes it easy to ignore the metal underneath. Ethan helped design this softness. He wrote statements that soothe and clauses that bind. He hired people with steady smiles. He found a friendly therapist who likes buzzwords that purr. He chose bracelets that track steps and sleep and smiles. He called it a plan. Maris called it love. Lena took it and tried to breathe under it. Here comes the first small hook and the first small fix. A staff drill leaks online. The drill is for comfort talk, and it sounds like a choir of fake calm. The clip plays on a loop, and the comments use words like creepy and cult. Ethan buries it with a sparkly decoy about a dress that never existed. People fight over the color, and the drill disappears under the thread. Relief is sweet and thin. Then a guard slips and calls the mansion the playpen.
Welcome back to the playpen.
A reporter hears it and starts to dig. HR releases a note that says the guard meant the dog runs. There is no dog, and yet the note works, because most people are busy. Ethan marks the ledger with another tiny cut. He tells himself this is normal. He tells himself the word love can carry a heavy load. Lena leaves lyrics in odd places, and Ethan keeps finding them. A hotel Bible hides a page that says, "Love with a leash is a walk in a circle." A soap dish covers a line that says, "A hand can guide, or a hand can hold down." He slips each page into his briefcase and tells nobody. Maris arrives with a gift that glows in pastel.
This tracks wellness, and it helps her rest, and it is peace for both of us.
The band goes on Lena's wrist, and the app sends hearts and numbers. The hearts look like care, and the map looks like a fence. Another small loop snaps. Ethan plans a charity story to cover a clash with a photographer. The clash fades. The numbers rise. The fortress hums like a fridge in a quiet room. Now we reach the day that flips the table. Maris designs a surprise party that is not a party at all. She calls it a safety retreat. There are posture coaches, wellness officers, and a man with a voice that says breathe like the ocean. The cameras are ready for soft content. Lena stands under soft light and sings a new song. The song is gentle and it looks safe. It does not stop.
I keep keys in my throat, and none of them open a door.
Verse after verse walks down a hallway and unlocks a lock. The internet hears it and goes quiet in a loud way. Numbers spike and then turn into teeth. The fans ask if she is fine, the brands ask if she is stable, and the lawyers ask for copies. Maris asks for control.
We need to pause her schedule, and we need to center her health, and you need to tighten the plan.
Tighten sounds like care, but it acts like a clamp. Ethan opens old files and finds a clause with his name on it. The clause allows emergency guardianship on days like this. He wrote it 2 years ago in a room with quiet air and good coffee. He told himself it was safety. Today it feels like a knife with his fingerprints on the handle. He stares at the screen until the words stop meaning anything. Then the driver knocks on his office door with a small book.
She likes this poem when the car stops at red lights.
Ethan reads 4 lines that talk about love without locks. The chef meets him in the service corridor and slips him a box.
She asked for cinnamon, and I pretended not to hear the rules.
Tiny rebellions like cinnamon and verse begin to look like a map. Ethan looks at his ledger and sees only exits he did not build. Shame is heavy when it is clear. He makes a decision that does not ask for approval. He decides to betray the fortress in a way that harms no one and leaves dents that do not fade. He calls the driver, the chef, a junior publicist with honest eyes, and a guard who hates the word playpen. He asks a simple question to each of them.
Will you help me tell the truth at the right time, in the right way?
They say yes with soft voices and firm backs. The plan is boring if you love explosions, and brilliant if you love air. They will switch a live stream feed. They will publish a short statement signed by first names. They will trigger a legal safety test that opens every interior lock for 20 minutes. They will do nothing illegal. They will commit to sunlight. The day comes fast because fear moves time. The wellness team sets up cameras and gentle playlists. Maris wears a smile that could cut fruit. The app pings green hearts. Ethan stands backstage with a cable in one hand and his ledger in the other. The driver has the switch for the feed. The chef has the statement ready on a page that says care is not control. The guard stands by the safety panel with a manual open to the page that says test procedure. The junior publicist breathes like someone about to jump into a lake. The live stream goes live, and the world expects another soft scene. The feed flips, and a plain room appears with a single microphone. Lena steps in without makeup and without a script.
This is my voice, and I will use it for me.
She sings a song without a hook, without a chorus, and without a brand. She sings like a person in a small kitchen. The Crisis microsite reloads onto the statement. It lists systems that looked like hugs and acted like cuffs. It refuses to name or humiliate. It asks for changes with clean words and no heat. The mansion opens its interior doors for a lawful safety test. Air moves through rooms that forgot how to breathe. The fortress is not broken. It is seen. Maris storms the studio with a posture that says, "Courtroom."
Turn that off and end this feed and stop this stunt.
She points at Ethan like a teacher who sees gum under a desk. He does not hide.
I did this, and I am saying this on record, because I helped build a plan that turned love into locks.
The narrator in your head may want a shout or a slam, but this is quiet and plain. He lists each trick he ever used, and he links each trick to a softer word.
I called a curfew sleep hygiene, and I called an accountability buddy, and I called a fence safety.
He does not ask for applause or forgiveness.
I want a contract with exits, and I want policies that end unless renewed, and I want the right to make a mistake without punishment.
Lena finishes the last verse and lowers the microphone.
I am not a ward of fear, and I am not a franchise, and I am not a story you can proofread.
The feed rolls on a beat longer than is comfortable. The comments flood with hearts, and with questions, and with arguments that sound like family dinners. Lawyers walk fast. Papers fly. A judge hears a clause that once looked like a blanket and now looks like a chain. It gets cut with a single sentence and a signature. Nothing explodes and everything changes. Here is a short breath, because you need one. You have watched tension rise and fall in small loops. You got curiosity, then answer, then a new itch. That rhythm is not an accident, and it is also what control does to people. It makes you chase relief like candy you keep in your pocket. The trick is to change the game, not just the candy. After the storm, the story walks. Lena moves into a rented house that complains when it rains. She buys a kettle that clicks and a secondhand table with a mark that looks like a map of a river. A cat arrives as if she invited it. She writes songs that do not rhyme on purpose and make people sit down without knowing why. Maris does not vanish, because people do not vanish. She learns that love without control feels like standing on a boat. She holds the rail and looks at the water, and some days she looks away. Ethan changes his job by changing his rules. He will not build a system without a door you can open from the inside. He will not hide a lock behind a lovely word. He writes sunset clauses into plans and penalties that fall away if harm does not happen. He makes a living by making it easier to leave. Here is the fable, simple and clean. If your love needs a lock, it is not a home, it is a showroom. If you built the lock, open it in public and stop asking the door to apologize. If you are the one in the room, take the key and step into air, even if your legs shake. People will call it scandal when you breathe the first time, and then they will call it normal, and then they will pretend they taught you how. Keep the key on a chain you can break with your hands. You have listened long, so let me pay you in more story, because the small hooks still matter. The driver keeps a poem taped to the dash with a line about doorways and light.
Light likes honest rooms.
The chef keeps a jar of cinnamon near the stove and lets it remind her that rules should keep food safe, not people small.
Sugar is not a crime.
The guard who hated the word playpen complains to his sister about how words get used to hide things.
I want a job where the door opens. Because it should.
The junior publicist stops writing apology templates in advance and starts writing notes about boundaries that are kind and firm. Ethan visits his mother's bench and tells the heir the truth about the ledger.
I paid for soft things with hard tricks, and I do not want to do that again.
He laughs once when a bird steals a crumb from his shoe. He lets the laugh be real and small and free. Let us step back to the first question and close the loop that we opened in the hall. When does love turn into a leash? It happens when fear starts writing the rules and keeps calling itself protection. What do you owe if you tied the knot? You owe the work to untie it, in daylight, with witnesses, with clean hands, and with words that do not hide. That is atonement, not a caption. You may not be a star, or a fixer, or a mother with a famous daughter. You may be a boss with gentle policies that feel like glue. You may be a partner who needs a yes for every small move. You may be a friend who checks a location pin more than a pulse. If you saw yourself in any line, take that as a mirror, not a sentence. Change one rule today and see if anyone dies. If the answer is no, keep the change. Keep going until air moves through your rooms. A last round of small loops now, quick and clear. Ethan builds a contract for a new client who says she wants safety, and he replies that he can help her want trust.
Trust is safety without the hand on your shoulder all day.
She signs and smiles like a person who found a map in a coat pocket. Lena puts on shoes to buy milk on her own, and a neighbor nods and does not ask for a selfie.
I like milk that I choose.
Maris sends a short text that says she will try to be less of a guard and more of a mother.
I am learning to put the key on the table.
The sky does not crack, and no one explodes, and yet the world feels wider by a hand's width. That is how most real change looks. It looks small, and then it adds up. It looks boring until you wake up and notice you are breathing. Now we return to you, who stayed with me through alarms and songs and clauses and doors. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. If this story hit a nerve or helped you name a feeling, please tap like and please subscribe. And please drop a comment with what part stuck with you. If you want to support this channel, you can use the QR code at the bottom right of the video or the donation link in the description. In the description, you will also find links to very different series from this channel, and I think you will enjoy them when you are in a different mood. See you in the next one, and bring a friend who likes honest stories and clean endings. Until then, keep your keys where you can reach them, and keep your doors open to air. This was Gold and Thorns, and I am grateful you were here.